Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gabby Pinkerton and I am a destination wedding planner for adventurous couples. I never know what to do with my hands at the beginning of a video. Welcome back, and if you are new here, my name is Gabby Pinkerton. I'm a destination wedding planner for adventurous couples. I am also a Pinterest strategist for wedding pros. So if you're here to learn how to grow your business or make it on Instagram, you're in the right place. And actually today is, wow, I said Instagram. No, Pinterest. Pinterest. I really don't know that much about Instagram. So if you're here to grow your business and learn more about how to drive traffic from Pinterest to your website and therefore attract your ideal client, you're in the right place. And today is a very specific Pinterest post or Pinterest vlog that I'm making. It is about the 2020 Pinterest algorithm update. Don't let that scare you. It's actually a very interesting, it's a little bit of a controversial update in a way because it is changing the way we are going to be interacting with the platform. So like any social media platform, however, let's call Pinterest a search engine. For the sake of this video, we will call it a social media platform, but it's really a search engine. But like any social media platform, there's always an algorithm update. And so it is time for Pinterest to step it up and update their algorithm. And the goal for any social media platform is that they want to be user-friendly. Okay, so like any social media platform, Pinterest is going to go through an algorithm update. And the latest update that happened, I want to say in June 2020, I think, is a very interesting one. So the old way of using Pinterest was your feed was curated based off of stuff that you would click on, right? Click on or save to one of your boards. That's how kind of it showed you more of what you already love. The challenge with that is that you never got to see content that you might actually like, but Pinterest doesn't know you actually might like that, right? Does that make sense? So what it's doing now is called controlled distribution. So you may have heard me talk about story pins and video pins. Those are new add-ons to the platform, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But basically the way the algorithm is working with the controlled distribution is that it's now going to show you, it's going to sprinkle in some new content for you to look at, such as video pins and story pins. And then if you click on it or you save it, it's going to be like, oh, you like that? Here's a little bit more. So it's slowly controlling the distribution of new content. So in a way, it's actually kind of cool because as a creator, as a business owner, our work has the opportunity of being shown in front of more people that may not have searched for us in the first place, if that makes sense. But it requires us creating video pins and story pins. So let's talk about that. What is a story pin? A story pin is basically like a carousel, like an Instagram story in a way of standard pins, so images, usually with text overlay in a multiple sequence story. So you'll have a lot of story pins that are recipes or how-to DIY crafts, stuff like that. I personally think that in the wedding industry, we have the opportunity to create a ton of amazing story pins because I tested one out very early on when they released story pins. And I mean, I didn't know really what I was doing, but it got something like 8,000 views, a few hundred clicks, and some saves. So it was really cool because all I did was best boho weddings. And it was a story of a few images of my favorite boho weddings with text overlay that had like the theme of the boho wedding. So one was like modern boho pampas grass wedding. One was edgy alternative boho wedding. One was beach boho wedding. So when you get to the end of that though, there is no way to click through to your website. And that was the whole thing with Pinterest that I loved and that a lot of creators loved and business owners, is that you could find an image that you put on the platform and people click and it goes straight to your website. Like, that's amazing. There's no other social media platform that does such a direct link back to your website. Well, Pinterest was like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound good, because the way we're making money on the platform is through paid ads. So if people are leaving the platform to go onto our websites, Pinterest is losing money because the users aren't staying around to seeing or clicking on the paid ads. It makes sense. I totally get it. And it was only a matter of time before they were going to do this. However, if you will become a creator and you start creating story pins, the idea on how you can then turn it into still attracting people to your website is this way. So let's say you create a story pin on how to pin a boutonniere. So how to pin a boutonniere, and you have maybe 5 slides or 5 stories that have images on the equipment that you need, a boutonniere, 2 pins, or a magnet. That's a side note for all you wedding people out there. I am all about magnet boutonnieres. It's the way to go, especially corsages for women, but that's a whole other story. So maybe you have an image that is your equipment list, and then you have an image of how it's going to look when you actually slide the needle through, or the pin through the boutonniere. And then you're going to have an image of placing it on the right spot on the jacket or the vest or the shirt. And then maybe you'll have one of an image of you sliding the pin, and then a final reveal, right? So something very simple like that. Now, if someone finds that story pin, which, remember, Pinterest is boosting the story pins a lot more these days, so you have the chance of popping up in front of somebody a lot quicker. So let's say someone sees that story pin and like, oh, that was really helpful. I'm going to save this. Let me see what else this person has. So it is now linking to your Pinterest profile. So not to your website that's outside of the platform, but to your Pinterest profile. And that's actually really good, because from there, they very well may fall upon other pins that you have, and those pins still link to your website, right? So your standard pins will still link to any URL that you want them to. And Pinterest is still allowing traffic to move from Pinterest platform over to your website. But they're also really focusing on having people become creators of the platform. So see how that works? If you can try to create something, I'm not saying you have to do a story pin every day, but if you can try to create something like a story pin, having it add value to your platform or to your profile on the Pinterest platform, and then allow people to start exploring your profile a little bit more. Hence why board categories and having your boards organized is now a little bit more important, because you want people to go to those boards that really are calling to them and will answer maybe the questions that they have. So that's story pins. The other thing that Pinterest is really focusing on is video pins. So a video pin, the cool thing about it is it can be really just an animation. I kind of said that funky. I was gonna say an animated photo or an animation. So it could just be a simple standard pin with one little item on the image that's moving. Again, I use Canva for that kind of stuff because I'm not necessarily very good at creating my own video content, but it could also be an Instagram story that you take and you save onto your phone and you re-upload onto the platform and create a video pin. So by using a story pin, whether it be an actual video that you take, like an Instagram story that you save to your phone, or animate a still photo, that is allowing you now to show up on the platform again in a controlled distribution kind of way. So you are now entering into people's home feeds without them knowing about you prior to this. So it's actually really helpful. With video pins, I'm actually still A/B testing my own video pins. I am trying to do kind of loop or boomerang style to see if people like that. And then I'm also doing like 5 to 8 second little snippets of video with some text overlay at the bottom. But one thing to note is that audio does not matter. And the reason is you can, of course, put audio on your videos, but it's going to be extra work for very little return, because in order for a user to play audio, they have to click one extra step in order to turn that on. So as they are scrolling, just focus on having a really quick animation that catches their eye immediately on their home feed. Don't worry about audio. Don't worry about getting too fancy, but encourage them to click on that post, and then from there it will be able to link outside of the platform to a website of your choice. So again, I think the new Pinterest algorithm is actually going to be beneficial for us. I think it's coming off as a little challenging for some who are so used to pinning their old content, their standard pins, and reusing old content. Early in 2020, so February 2020, Pinterest did release the information that fresh pins, fresh content was more important now. So along with this controlled distribution that came a little bit later, the first most important thing you need to remember is your content needs to be new and fresh. And in Pinterest's eyes, that means a new image. So it can be an old URL, so you can still link to old blog posts, and I encourage you to do that, but make sure that you're creating new images to add to the platform. Oh, Fee, lay down. Hey, no, we don't need to catch flies over here. Okay. So make sure that those new images are basically, it can be an old photo, but that you change something about it. So whether you do a tighter crop, or you add some text overlay, or you change the filter, which don't do that if it's taken by a professional photographer. But you've got to change things around with that actual photo if you've already posted that photo on Pinterest. I hope that makes sense. So if you have any questions about the new Pinterest algorithm, feel free to comment below. Be sure to join us on our Pinterest for Wedding Pros Facebook community. People ask a lot of questions. I do a live Q&A every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Pacific time, so noon. And I do 15 minutes of ask me whatever you want about Pinterest, and I try to go through as many as your questions as possible. So follow us there. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that already. See you soon.